Hi, I'm Larry from Boston Concession.com. We build food concessions in many sizes and styles and for all sorts of purposes. And I thought I might just give some do-it-yourselfers an idea of what is involved if you choose to build your own concession. This is an example of some plumbing that you might require in your unit. This plumbing is obviously installed pre-drain so that we can just give you an overview of only water feed lines and how we like to do it. We also have some other methods that we use depending on what type of unit is ordered and what type of weather and climate the unit will be used in. So if you are looking for a concession, this is where you would go. If you're going to build a concession, let me give you some helpful information. Number one, you're going to need to call your county health department and ask them, based on what you intend to sell, how many sinks you're going to need to have. Some counties are going to want 3 dish sinks and a hand sink. Some places want 2 sinks, one for hand wash, one for dishes. Others might only want 1 sink, but if you're serving food, they'll all want sinks. Each sink will have to have hot and cold water. So let's talk about that for a minute. Now, the pump has not been installed in this unit yet. The pump will feed water into this fitting. This fitting here will have a barbed fitting and receive water from a 12-volt pump. We like the standard SureFlow, S-H-U-R-F-L-O, SureFlow pump. It's a great pump. It's easy to replace if anything ever goes wrong. Runs on 12 volts. That's what we would recommend. So, you're feeding water into this line, and it's coming up, and it's going to the first faucet. In this concession, we have 2 sinks. It continues along to this location, where it feeds the second sink, and then it continues on and up to the instant hot water heater that we put in. So the one water feed line will continue all the way from the pump past both sinks up to the water heater. Then it returns back from the water heater in this line and feeds this sink, continues along, feeds the second sink, and then it continues on and comes down to a valve. Hot and cold, each taper, they're sloped down to these 2 valves. These 2 valves tie into one primary line, which will as well have a barbed fitting to a drain hose. So in areas where freezing occurs, you will be able to open this port, and drain all of this water from the water heater all through the lines, down and out. This is what we would recommend. What we would also recommend, and we offer, would be to add a second lever for circulating the hot water from the water that's in the lines into your holding tank for fresh water for a moment or two until you know that hot water has arrived at the sink. Then close that, open up the sink, and you'll not waste all of the water every time you wash your hands all day long. You'll be surprised how much that adds up. To give you a for instance, if you wash your hands 15 times a day, and this line all the way up to the water heater, and the time, which is just moments, through the water heater, you probably wasting about 1/4 of 1 gallon just waiting for hot water. by opening a valve, a separate plumbing system, pumping the water through the hot water heater and back into the water storage. What you're doing is you're recovering all of the water that's circulating up to the heater and back through it and back to the sink, so that you can continue to use it, and you will count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 in advance, and you'll know how long you'll need to do that before the water at the sink is hot. This really is a nice thing to have. It will save you an awful lot of water and will reduce greatly how much water you need in a unit. I left these laying here. These little baby Makitas are my favorite tools. We own everything in every way, but these little Makita screw guns, one's a hammer drill and one's a conventional drill. Oh boy, do I love those tools. So if you don't own screw guns and you're wondering what you ought to get, or what you ought to get your husband for a good gift, these little baby Makitas are nice because you can just tuck it right in your back pocket and walk around with it all day. These are awesome. If there's anybody doing stuff themselves, I know that we, BostonConcession.com, recommend this little tool. We have several sets of them. None of us will do without them. This is a nice tool, and I'm not paid to say it, by the way. So you have water from your pump coming into a line and feeding each sink, then the instant hot water heater, then comes back from the instant hot water heater in a hot line feeding the sinks. This is important. If you use instant hot water and you are trying to run plumbing in soft line, you are going to melt the line. No question about it. If you're feeding your sinks from a water heater using soft line, I can tell you now, you're going to melt that line. It's not made for that type of heat. So seriously consider at least running your hot water from your hot water heater in copper. And then from these, it's a braided line right to the faucet. Alright, I wish you the best of luck. There are other videos out on the basics. You're welcome to review those as well. This, like each unit, we keep enhancing our units. They're all better and better and better. This setup here, this is a really nice sink, by the way, stainless steel. This unit is not the same as all the units that will follow. But if you're building one yourself, this is a great way to do it. So, in summary, cold water and hot water coming to valves that stay closed all of the time, then each of those tapering into one and all pitched into a braided line, which will get a hose clamp and a soft line and go out into the world. And in climates that'll get cold overnight, you will run your sinks into your waste tank, which you will drain, and therefore emptying all the water. Then you will open up these two ports, and you'll just allow everything gravity fed to drain out of all your pumps and your water heater, etc. This will protect your lines. So this is a really important feature. You don't want to have to heat a unit all winter long. So hope this was of help from BostonConcession.com. There will be others. We'll follow up with some. And I wish you the best of luck. We've got a lot of years. We've made a lot of mistakes over those years. And I'm just trying to help a guy out with a little bit of information. hoping that your experience building your own concession is not real difficult. What's this, you ask? This is simply something to hold the drain pipes, which will pass by here later. So we have these here. You can see we mark where our water tanks will be in advance, so we don't put plumbing right in the way. Okay, best of luck from Boston, Concession.com.